How's everybody? Did we all pray? Is it a double barrel thing? Okay, title of my message is something that Dwayne Johnson stole. He called it the rock.
Amen.
All know Dwayne Johnson? It's quite warm, eh? It's just me. Who here has tried to find happiness in the world? Everybody. Were you successful?
No.
What you found was a little bit of euphoria and escapism through whatever drug or alcohol, powder, whatever it was you used. Right?
Yes.
Did it work for you?
No.
So why do we keep looking in the world for solutions? Good question, eh? What's the definition of insanity?
Same thing over and over.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So we're going to try the blonde, we're going to try the red, we're going to try the black hair. Yeah? We're going to try the dark green one, purple one. We're going to try the revolve with leather and studs. Maybe that'll be exciting. Maybe if he's got a donny. He's got a Harley. This is the one. And it always backfire, isn't it? Because your solution is not your plan. I have not found anybody on this earth who lives in a body who is trustworthy 100%. Not possible. Not possible. We are all, to some extent, broken. Because we have all been firing on 2 cylinders instead of 3. Walking in the soul and in the flesh instead of in the spirit, which is connected to God, who is life. So when you're walking in your mind, you think you've got a boundary, or you know what's right, and you will do what you think is right. And 9 times out of 10 it backfires somewhere along the line. Because if I'm going to look for a guy on the outside, on what his tent looks like, the tent that he lives in, I'm going to be disappointed when I find out who's living inside there if I haven't looked who's inside the tent. Makes sense, doesn't it? And then every time that you find the guy and you think, oh, this is the one, he looks great, he's got a good speech, you're an angel who fell out of heaven, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's got a good talk. You think this is the one, and when you break up, he takes a piece of your heart. And your self-esteem drops. Your queenship or your kingship gets broken, little piece by piece. And every time the little piece breaks off, you just put up a little plaster. Okay, because who likes being hurt? Come on. Nobody, isn't it? And so in the end, what do? So now you start acting like, oh, okay, I broke up with her. So, yeah, you shoot your chum, you say, I don't know, it's not on the belt. Whatever. Blows your hair back. But it's actually a lie. Because you hurt inside, but you won't admit it to anybody, let alone yourself. Isn't it? So you push it into denial. You take it, you put it in a drawer, and you slam it to the back of your mind, and you concentrate on something else. And you try to forget about that. So now you're walking around in unforgiveness. Now you're walking around and you've got a root of bitterness, unforgiveness inside of you. And when you've got a root of bitterness inside of you, you start getting stressed. And when you start getting stressed, you start getting anxious. When you start getting anxious, you start getting critical. And when you start getting critical, you start getting sarcastic. Because now you rather look at other people because you hurt, and what have you got in your heart to give? Hurt. You've only got pain. You may try and hide it as much as you like and use whatever substance you use as much as you like. But how are you ever going to find happiness if you cannot even face yourself? Are we The highlight reel. It's the truth. I'm not talking down to you guys. 35 years. Drag it in. If God can pull me out of that, so He can be pulled you out of it. I'm telling you, there is no high like the Most High.
Amen.
It's a cliche, but I'm telling you it's true. And I've actually proved it that I'm not going to go. That when I actually got high one day, it brought me down. Like that. Because what happens when you give your control away? Who are you giving it to? Who are you giving your control to? The ruler of this world. Bottom line. You know, you get to possession by Satan. You start with regression. You stop reading your word, and you start getting out of the word, you stop going to church, and everybody. Right? Then comes depression. Why can you depressed? Because you cut off from your Savior, and there's no solution in this world. Then comes oppression, which means that spiritual forces actually come and oppress you, push you down. Listless, lazy, don't want to get out of bed, hopeless. You've got a whole strategy in place. Right? And the longer that you give into these things, you will get to a point where you start possessing certain parts of your life where you are not in control. Suddenly, just what does that mean? What happened? Anybody been there? Think back on what I did when I was high, and I think, geez, what was that mean? It is so exactly the opposite of who I actually am. Right? Crazy. Crazy. The stuff you get out of jail. Anyway, I'm going to start preaching now. 2 Corinthians 1 verse 18 out of the mirror. Reading 18 to 21. You can just listen. From 17. It's not our style to hesitate between two opinions. We have no desire to make promises that we cannot keep. When we said yes to you, we did not mean no. God's certainty is our persuasion. There is no maybe in Him. So what this guy is saying is, if I say something with my mouth, my yes is my yes and my no is my no in some translations, right? What he's saying is, my certainty to be able to say yes is that I'm spirit-full and speaking to you that I will do this for you. And because, he says, God's certainty is our persuasion, because there's no maybe in Him, I can be certain that He will do that. Because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's trustworthy. So my promises are going to be in line with the Word of God. And then I know that it will be done. That's what he's saying. Isn't that cool? Because I can trust God. I can't trust man. Do you know when Paul went to get somebody to help him plant churches? Because Paul was the apostle, right? He went and he preached until he got a congregation together. Then he formed a church and he left young man Timothy behind to put the elders in place and the whole structure of the church. And he went on because he was called as an apostle to plant churches. But he didn't do the physical planting of the church. You know how he got hold of Timothy? Because you can't trust people, is just what I've said, right? We all agree. He prayed to God and he said, give me somebody with the same mind and heart as I've got. And God supplied him with Timothy. Now he can trust Timothy because he actually trusts in God. He knows that Timothy won't be. See what I'm saying? So make it that. I said, frozen. Don't ask God for the right one. I'm just going to get all that away. I'm just kidding. But why don't you ask God? Because you looked yourself in the world and that's worked, right? Why don't you ask your Creator to supply you? Walk by faith. You know? Because I can guarantee you one thing, isn't it? Greg? Is it not true that if you pray to God and He supplies you with a wife, you'll have no doubt about her, that you will know that you'll never get divorced from her. You know that she is made for you. You know that she actually gets your sense of humor. Because she fits. God is not a God who's going to create your wife and let her be born in Italy and you in South Africa. And sit there chuckling at you and laughing at you. God is a good God. If she's in Italy, she might come and join the band that you play. Yes, God is a good God. God will orchestrate it because equally yoked. Now, is it not so that you would be happy with a woman like that? Isn't that so? If you know that you know that you know, no doubt anything whatsoever, and she knows that you are her husband, and she is your wife. Will that not be a happy union, no divorce in the world? When we don't trust God. And so the world is full of Hollywood, the God of Hollywood. And so the divorce is full of. There's no godly marriages. There's no commitment. Get married today, get divorced tomorrow. It's actually cheaper to get divorced than to get married. Yes. It's madness. It's absolute madness. Man trying to be in charge of man. In the beginning, God made man, He said, to have dominion over the fish, the animals, nature, and the earth. He never said have dominion over man. Did He? I don't remember you saying Adam had dominion over Eve. Problem is, you know where most religious wars start? Jeez, I'm going off course here now. James says you lust, and you do not have because you do not ask. And when you ask, and that's the ask for wrong stuff. Amen. So, I'm right, eh? This is the only Bible you should read, right? Now I'm going to force it on you. There comes a problem, isn't it? Because I'm not loving you by forcing you to read my Bible, just because I think it's right. Imagine if we were all exactly the same. It would be Pink Floyd, just another brick in the wall. We'd all be clones. God made us different for a reason. I almost can force the way I worship God on somebody else. The Bible says you must work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, isn't it? So, what he's getting at here is, if I trust God, it's going to happen. Why? Not because I'm anything, but because God is faithful. God's not a man that He's a lie. He's trustworthy. Only God. You ladies, I'm the ladies' counselor. Every single one of you can tell me, will tell you that I've let them down in some way, somewhere. Alright? You can be honest. Because I'm flesh and blood. I'm flesh and blood. Isn't it? Anybody there? Yeah. Inspiring to new lives. You may say amen. Amen. Well done. Yeah, I can relate to that. Matthew 16:16. So remember this one thing. God's certainty is our persuasion. There is no maybe in Him, right? Got that? God's certainty is our persuasion. There is no maybe in Him. No shadow of turning in God. Okay. So, we're reading about Peter and the rock. Matthew 16:16. Simon Peter, he asks, who do you say that I am? And Simon Peter answers and said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Okay. So Jesus said to him, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, For flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. Now, some people say that the rock is Peter. Peter is not the rock. He's saying that his name is Simon Bar-Jonah. I'm changing your name to Peter. Okay? That's all he's saying. And he's saying, upon this rock, what is the rock? The rock is that he knows that Jesus is the Son of God, the living Word. That is the rock. If your foundation is not on that, you won't trust anybody, because he's the only trustworthy one. See what he's saying? He's saying you can build your ministry on this rock. This is your foundation in everything in life. So if he says, I have blessed you with all spiritual blessings, what church? The rock is, Lord, you have said that if I ask and I believe in my heart, it shall be done for me. I'm going to stand on this rock. This is your faith. So you stand in the spiritual, you stand and throw it down in the physical. It is your rock. You are now appropriating all the spiritual blessings that he is telling you that he has blessed you with. In Christ Jesus. But you only appropriated by faith. And faith without works is nil. So I'm going to speak it, because that's a word, isn't it? I've asked Jesus for this, and he gave it to me when I asked him at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, the 23rd of April, 1929. You won't wait that long to manifest. Isn't that standing in faith? And people will think you're mad. But do you care about people? Do you don't? Or do you care about God? You won't care. So what I'm trying to get at, we're looking in the wrong place for our blessings. We are looking in the wrong place. I'm telling you that, was it Harry Oppenheimer's son? No, it wasn't Harry Oppenheimer. One of the richest guys in the world anyway. Who committed Rockefeller, that's it. Whose son committed suicide in a Paris hotel. Now, he can't get any more money than what he's got because he can't spend it in a lifetime. Even if he spends billions a day, he can't spend it in a lifetime. So money does not bring happiness, and yet this is what we're chasing. Do you see the illusion that the ruler of this world has got us chasing this thing? That's an illusion. It's going to pass away when I die. That money is going to go to my son, who's just going to gone because he never worked. So it's meaningless. And where's your legacy now? So I can buy land and farms that I can name it Cromhout Farm because it makes me feel great because I'm Cromhout and my nageslagte van het kry. It's meaningless. Because who knows that if your son is going to be a dunce or a genius? If he's a dunce, he's just going to waste it. You're going to have to leave it in the trust and let other people handle it. You see what I'm saying? So your legacy is actually smoke. It's not eternal. And yet we spend all our time thinking of this and chasing this. We are all blessed. Every single person sitting here comes out of a family who owns a car, which means you're in the top 13% richest people in the world. Which one of you is blessed and happy? You see what I'm saying? Riches don't buy it. Riches don't buy it. There are people living on $2 a day here in Africa, just up the road. People who think that you've actually got a box that keeps food in it. They've got a bag of puff for the month. And whatever they can kill. See what I'm saying? You are the top 13% richest in the world if you own a car. Some of you guys don't do. In your family. So I don't even know what the percentage is there. You see what I'm saying? Happiness is not in this world, really. It's not. People look at you and say, good grief. They've actually bought a house for their car to live in. I'm living in a tonight. There are people up top here in Sudan eating bark off trees, trying to stay alive. So, if this world stuff brings happiness, then you guys are all nuts. Isn't it? If I look at the fruit. It's not found here. Happiness is not going to be found here. Life is up there. Life is God. God is life. So what I'm trying to get across here tonight is start looking your eyes up. Your enemy is not sitting next to you. Your enemy is in the atmosphere. Every single person sitting here tonight has been paid for by the blood of Jesus Christ. Amen. Every single person. So, who are you to point your finger at your brother? If he's been bought with the blood of Christ, who are you to be his judge? Who the hell do you think you are? You see how sidetracked we can get if we take our eyes off. And we start looking here. Now we start sniping and biting and scratching and gouging and judging and being sarcastic and blah, 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 blah. Who do you think the Spirit is behind you? Because the Spirit behind Peter here said to Jesus, no, don't go to the cross. And he said, you don't know what spirit you are of. What spirit is using you to voice that? Am I talking to anybody?
Amen.
Amen. So who are you to sit and judge somebody else when you don't even judge yourself?
Amen.
Start lifting your eyes up. Your enemy is not sitting in your space. Lifting your eyes up, because anything done out of love is sin. You know that? Anything done out of faith is sin. Dangerous, eh? Numbers 23, let's hurry it a bit here. Otherwise we'll be here at 9 o'clock. Numbers 23:16 says this: the Lord met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, go back to Balak, and thus you shall speak. So he came to him, and there he was, standing by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab were with him. And Balak said to him, what has the Lord spoken? And he took up his oracle and said, rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, nor is he a son of man that he should repent. In other words, God is not a man that he will lie, nor is he born of flesh that he should do something wrong and have to say sorry. Okay? Has he said, and will he not do? Has he said, I will, and then he didn't? That would make God a liar. Right? Has he spoken, and will he not make it good? Will he not make it happen? So, what I'm trying to say to you is, there are promises in here that if you are a king and a queen and you accept him and you've got the Holy Spirit in you, you have access to it. And they are trustworthy promises because God cannot lie. So why don't we trust God? Because we're judging God by our earthly standards. We're judging God by the boyfriend, the father, the mother. The teacher said you're useless and you're rubbish and you're not doing all those people who are vomiting on you, the negativity. You're judging God by manly standards, by fleshly standards. Not a man. God is spirit. You know what I'm saying? If there's anyone you can trust in the whole universe, it's your Creator. your Creator. And if there's any promise here that you need, you can get it. If you stand in faith and listen. Because God is the God of what we call miracles. To Him it's just every day. Because He is a miracle maker. What He says it goes. Nothing will stand in His way. I've had 6 counselors here with HIV who've been cured. Not because I'm anything, please don't get me wrong. God's in character, HIV is.
Amen.
They come to me, said, please pray for me. I said, well, do you think God can fix your HIV? They said, yes. I said, you healed. There's nothing. And every single one of them was called me and said, Mom, I see you now. Clean. Can't believe it.
Amen.
Because they expressed their faith. God will do it. He loves you. He loves you. Romans 14:22 says this. Are you guys getting something?
Yes.
Romans 14 verse 22. Do you have faith? Have it to yourself before God. Happy is he who does not condemn himself in what he approves, but he who does is condemned if he eats, because he does not eat from faith. For whatever is not from faith is sin. In other words, what you are not doing in faith that God is going to perform, if you're not operating in love, knowing that the love of God lives inside of you, it's count nothing. So, in other words, if I'm coming to Mochocho and I'm doing a good deed for Mochocho, so that I can shine in front of the rest of the ladies section, they can also, ooh, what a holy man of God. What a pathetic specimen I am. All I'm proving is myself. It's meaningless. We're not done with the love of God. God is love. 1 John 5. So I've got quite a few scriptures. 1 John 5 verse 9. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of God is great. In other words, if I come and I give you, I'm just using this as an example now. I give you the word here tonight. In other words, I'm witnessing to you here tonight. The witness of God is greater. The revelation that He gives you here in the Spirit, through my word, is far greater than my word. Far greater. Because my talking will have no impact. Make sense? For this is the witness that He has testified of His Son. He who believes in the Son of God has a witness in himself. He who does not believe God has made him a liar. That's it. So if you do not believe, whatever you, this is why He's saying, what's not done in faith is sin. Whatever you do in unbelief, you make God out to be a liar, because God has said, I'm not going to give you that. That you need faith to get it. So if you're not operating in faith, you operate in sin. Because you're making God out to be a liar that He can't do it. Serious. We walk like little children who really are bumping into walls with lines and bats. We really need to open our eyes. Because now I say I'm a Christian, but I'm not walking in faith. And I'm making God out to be a liar before unbelievers. That's quite a heavy thing. You come before God one day and say, why? What are you going to answer? Oh, I won't have anything to say. I mean, what can I say to defend myself? The door shut. But this is the reality, and yet God still loves us. And yet God still holds us in His hand, protects us, goes before us. forms a rear guard, encircles us, takes our hand, guides us, little by little, grace to grace, little to grow. But do you see the trustworthiness of God? Even though we make him out to be a liar, he doesn't abandon him. He doesn't say, okay, you don't deserve it. He knows you don't. He loves you anyway. He doesn't abandon you. Isn't that cool? Can you find a love like that on earth? There's no love like that on earth that accepts you for you, just as you are. And yet we hold on to all our hurts, hang-ups, and habits as if our very life depends on it. And he's just saying, I paid for it. My daughter, my son, I paid for it. Just shut it off. Let me show you what love is. Let me bless you. I'll show you what life is all about. I didn't create you to be like this. You're believing a lie. You're a queen and you're a king. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing, God. He who believes in the Son of God has the witness in himself. He doesn't believe made him a liar, because he's not believed the testimony that God has given of his Son. He does not believe that I have given of my Son, so that I can bless you, because all the blessings are in Christ. Do you want blessing? Who wants blessing? Yes, I want to walk with no more tears. No more pain, no more sorrow. Just relax. You don't have to put on any masks. Just be Kevin. Because that's what God made me to be. And just by being Kevin, he's happy with me and I'm all the time. That's walking in peace. And joy must come. Joy must come. You see, and Satan will get you to do it. Get your peace, just like that your peace is gone. Just like that your joy is gone. Just to take your eyes off and you look down. Very much okay. You're sitting in the line of fire tonight. Verse 14. Now this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we have asked for. If it's in line with the word of God, God will bless us. Because God does not discriminate. He does not love you more than he loves you. Why? Do you think that Moses was loved by God more than you? No. Because if it was like that, there would be separation. Isn't it? Because then you feel there's nothing right there, isn't it? God loves you with the same love that he loves his Son Jesus Christ, because you have become the Son in Jesus Christ. Amen. You're part of his body. Remember I told you the analogy of, I think I'm just a little toenail. I'm nothing. Just drop a brick on it. And the rest of the body is like, whoa! That's important. No insignificant part of God's body. All the same. Whether you're an apostle, whether you're a preacher, a teacher, an evangelist, whether you do administrations, that's what you call for. You work in the office to keep the church alive and going. All the same. All the same. No shadow of turning in God. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. So if you find your niche in the Lord, what you were born to do, now you're going to operate and you don't have to compare yourself to anybody or anything. If they don't like what you do, tough. Isn't it? Because I am so happy, I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. This is what I was created to do. I'm glorifying God by just being mute. I am accepted and I am being blessed out of my little pink cotton socks. Isn't that what we're all looking for? And yet we want it on our terms, unfortunately. Acts 17:26. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on all the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings. This is how intimate God is. He has made you, right, and placed you with your parents the very second that you were born, in the very town that you were born, and has appointed your time to die. That's what he's saying. That's how intimate God is. Right? Isn't that what it says there? He's determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grope for him and find him, though he's not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being. You cannot escape God, you're living in God, because if Jesus pulls out, you die. You don't just die, you just don't exist in. You guys have heard of laminin?
Yeah.
It's the thing that holds your cells of your body together. Your skin. Cells. Holds your cells together. I believe Jesus holds you one way or another. So you can't escape it. Are you getting something? James 4:1. I see now that lungs are starting to squeeze a bit. James 4, we're reading from 1 to 3. Where do wars and fights come from among you? Don't they come from your desires for pleasure that war in your members? You want something, can't get it. So you lust and you don't have. You murder and covet and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you don't have because you don't ask. You ask and you don't receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. Adulterers and adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? You do not know that seeking after worldly stuff, you make yourself an enemy of God. You do not walk in that. What's not done in practice? So what I will do, I will ask God, what job do you want me to do? What church would you want me to go to? You see, there's a lot of people who have God as, they say they've got him as Lord and Saviour, but they've only got him as Saviour. He's not the Lord of their lives. They're still sitting on the throne of their lives, trying to run it. And then when the hits the fan, what the hell is God up to now? He's only dropping me again. You know, they don't go and ask God. And then when the ruler of this world claps them, then they blame God. Because I go to church on Sunday. They've got him as Saviour. But they are sitting on the front of their lives for the rest of the week. I would rather ask God for my wife, my job, my church to go to, and what he would like me to do today. Who does he want me to talk to? Because then I know Holy Spirit's going to talk. Not me. And I'm actually going to make a difference in the world. Now I'm just putting God on the throne. And God knows the future, and he knows people's hearts, so he knows what they need to hear. And he will give you the words to speak. He will drop the scripture into your mind that they need to hear the living word. It will make a difference in their life. Yes, all very well. You're going to go to work 8 to 5. Show. How much time are you going to spend with God? Question. Is the question. 8 hours a day? Put food on the table, right? Do you think of God at work? Do you? So much. Okay? So you've got 8 hours, the ruler of this world. This is his system. Don't get me wrong, work is necessary. I'm not saying park off, but I can guarantee you, if you're in the Word of God and you know what He's created you to do, He will provide all of it. So 8 hours a day is taken there. Let's take it very little, an hour to work and an hour back. So that's short time. Yeah? So you're looking at 10 hours. Okay? 8 hours sleep. You get 8 hours gone, that leaves you with 6 hours. What do you do in that 6 hours? When you get home, you cook. Right? You get the homework done. Clean the house. Right? Oh, if you smoke 3 hours in the 3 hours a day in the locker. Now you're 24 hours already gone. Where's God in the equation? See what I'm saying? Because what you plug into spiritually is what you're going to get out. If you don't plug into God, how's your spiritual man going to grow? If you don't go to the gym to grow your muscles, how do your muscles grow? You can eat any kind of food you like, go on any diet, and use your supplements. But if you don't exercise, your muscles will not grow. So how much time are you spending with God? You're spending 3 hours worshipping the spirit of addiction a day, isn't it? If you smoke 20 a day at 10 minutes, that's 200 minutes divided by 60. That's 3 hours, 20 minutes a day. Worshipping the spirit of addiction. You know what I'm saying? By your fruits, I'm going to know you. So what are you spending your time on? Spending your time in Hollywood? With the drive-by shootings? That's the seed you sow into your heart. And as a man thinks in his heart, so he's going to be. See what I'm saying? You're in charge of it. Nobody else. Can't run because if you close the door, you sweat. So the last scripture is Matthew 7, verse 7. So does the scripture now, God's certainty is our persuasion? There is no maybe in it. You know what that maybe? Anybody? Does it mean a bit more to you? Yes. God's faithfulness and certainty is our persuasion. Go there with faith and appropriate where the word is. He wants to bless us with his keys. Which Father does not want to bless us with? Make more sense?
Yes.
So it's not about us. All we have to do is stand on the word of God and say, God cannot lie. God has said. How did you receive salvation? By faith. Isn't it? Just by faith. So why would you not receive any other blessing than by faith? Why do you have to now suddenly go to work to get your blessings when you receive faith for free? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Did he say you'll receive faith, you will receive salvation by faith, but after that you must go and work? Is that what the word teaches us? No. So why are you acting like an idiot? It is by faith that you receive any blessing. So why are you trying to earn it? Because I'm telling you, God can give you everything that you need if you serve Him in the capacity that He has called you. He says He has created you for this time, with this family, in this place, so that you can grow and find Him, and then you can find your calling. When you find your calling, suddenly you are blessed abundant life. Just calls you. This is what He created.
Amen.
You don't have to come and work for Him. God will call you to come and work here, and yes, I've got to go and do the finances so that I can do this, but this is what I'm called to do, not the finances. It's just a part of it. But I do that so I can do this because this is where I'm alive. This is what God has created me. And this is what makes me happy. This is what gives glory to God. This is where God uses me to talk to you. This is why I went through 35 years of addiction. And God saved my life. Because I can talk to you. Amen. Heart to heart. Because I know exactly what you're going through. Been there, done that. No t-shirt. Right, that's in Matthew 7:7-11. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. So, what are we looking for? Well, saying ask me and I'll give it to you. Knock, I'll open up for you. Look, and I'll let you find it. So it's not a lie. And trust it. Everyone who asks receives. Who?
Everyone.
Who here is everyone? Everyone is everyone. Cool, that means you. You know what everyone is in the Greek, what it means? It means everyone. What man is there among you, if his son asks for bread, he'll give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, he'll give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask Him? What more is God doing? What more is He doing? What are you waiting for? Lightning bolt? You might have to change your hairstyle. That's what you're waiting for. God has done it all. He's paid for it all with His blood. He made you a queen, He made you a king. And He said, you're my queen, you're my king. Come get your blessings. They're free. All you got to do is believe what I said. All I'm asking you to do is that so hard? Is that so hard? Stop judging God by people. Stop judging God by people. Okay. I'm going to, I'll drop and I'm going to pray.
So,